Download the app from the App and Play Store.
Welcome to Sunrise Radio. I'm in conversation with Dr. Selva Pankaj, CEO of Regent Group, a London-based educational organisation. We're talking about our changing world on Sunrise. We're looking at the new Lead the Field coaching programme in particular. And this time we're going to be talking about what is described as a worthy goal. Now, Selva, you've said this already. You define success as the progressive realization of a worthy goal. And we were discussing this earlier, how a minuscule percentage of the population can actually identify one abiding primary goal. If you ask them, if you stopped them randomly on the street and said, what are you working towards? What is your goal? A very small percentage of people will actually be able to say something specific, not just generic things like, oh, I want to be happy or I want my family to be happy, right?
Absolutely. And it's also important to add, and if you ask that small percentage of people you referred, Shabnam, to say, is it written down? Is it clearly written down? And then the percentage even comes even more smaller. And I think that the key for a worthy destination is knowing exactly where you want, and then you write it down, and then sometime you carry with you. So therefore, the chances are you say, yes, let me tell you, I'll open this up and say, I want to do this, and this by this time. And if you really look at that percentage of people, is very small. But if you go and look at the successful people who have achieved, this is starting from Henry Ford's or Alexander Bell's, or is it our Tesla guy or Steve Jobs, they knew exactly what they wanted. And I think, and if you go to their mind and if you ask the question, they know what they wanted. And
you also say how not only did they know exactly what they wanted, they also had some kind of a time frame, right? This is where I need to be by this time.
That's right. I think it's interesting, and it's quite. You do put a time frame, but you got to be sometimes patient about, because again, it's a law of nature. There's a law called a gestation period. I think we conceive, and it takes 200 and odd days for us to come out of the world, and it's over time. We know it's 260 days for that creation of a human. Some ideas might take longer. So therefore, yes, you need to put a timeline. But if it doesn't happen, you don't need to give up. You keep on going on persistence. That's why, people fail thousands of times before they achieve what they need to achieve. Yes, a timeline is important, but because we are imperfect, you can't put a timeline. But we need a timeline to work towards.
And again, coming back to what you said, success being the progressive realization of a worthy goal. It's not a destination. It is something that you're working towards. Even that stage of you working towards that goal, you're successful.
Absolutely.
As long as you're taking the right step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Now, Selva, it's interesting, we talk about how sometimes you might find highly intellectual people, very gifted people, may not be the most successful. And you do find a correlation between that and people being able to master their paradigm. We've spoken about this earlier. Paradigm is a conditioning. Is that what it is? That despite our intellect, despite being very gifted naturally, we may not be able to climb peaks of success because we haven't conditioned ourselves to, have a clear picture of our goal? Or
again, it depends. Like, if you ask an intellect, again, what is success for them? So sometimes it's a success for us. Might not be different to a success for another person. But the key what we talk about is there's two parts of our mind. One is our conscious mind, the other one the subconscious mind. And and the other problem we have is we don't know where the mind is. And we think in pictures. And then the mind is in every cell of the body. And then sometimes we think the mind is a brain, and it's not. A brain is a switching station. Mind it's every cell of the body, which then makes this body move. So on the conscious mind, that's where the educated mind, you pile the books there. And that's where the schools and the universities will do. The subconscious mind, that's where we have got our intellectual factors, the reasoning, the will, the imagination, the intuition, and all the rest of it. And I think we don't really develop that. Our current educational system doesn't concentrate on that. It concentrates on the educated mind. And then you pass the exams, you're not emotionally involved, you just put the certificate and you think, I'm done. But it's about dripping that, what you have on the conscious to the subconscious. That's where the body moves.
Populating it down to...
Correct. So therefore, it's sometimes, if that is the, we'll say, oh, he's an intellect or professor or that. If that's their goal, that's fine. And they are successful. So who are we to say they are successful? Not everyone needs to do something what we are thinking is success. It's up to them. And as long as that's their goal, and all we are asking is, do you have a goal? It's almost like anything. I had a goal to come here. If I don't have the goal, I will never be here. So I'll be just going left, right, center. There's a great story. They said, when you come out of the car and if you say, where are you going? I'm going west. You can go west for the rest of the world.
Yes.
But you need to know where exactly I'm going. Then
go.
only I'll get there. So every day we do that in our lives. When we are driving a car, we do that. We put in the sat-nav where we are going. But we need to ask the question, do we really have that for our careers? Do we have that for our life?
That's very pertinent. Now, what are the benefits of, say, exercising your imagination, as you mentioned in this lesson, thinking out of the box, rising out of our paradigms? Very hard, as you say. You have to discipline the mind to do it, right? And would that be, is that the path that we are charting for ourselves towards our goal? How hard or easy is it to exercise our imagination and think out of the box?
I think there are a number of intellectual factors which sort of in our mind, which is in our subconscious. And one of them is imagination. And as I said, our education system doesn't necessarily go into it. It stops at the piling up the books. But it's like it's a mental muscle. It's like if you want to develop your physical muscle, you've got to do exercise. And if I do exercise with one hand, this muscle will be better. If I don't do that one, it'll be better. Like that, you got to develop that muscle. And it takes time. And when you do that, there are a number of factors interconnected. There is will, ability to concentrate on one thing, is imagination. I think Napoleon Hill said imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous skill the human has been given. And because of imagination, everything, this camera, everything is somebody's imagination turned into a product. So therefore, I think it's you got to develop it, and then you could do whatever you like.
Let me ask you this. Is there an age that
No.
Where one is more receptive to these things? Or could you start at any age?
I think you could start at any age, but there are some research which sort of talks about, in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about certain amount of wisdom comes with age. I think he talks about the peak of sort of 40 to 50s. But I think it is wrong to really say that. There are some research says that, but there are... You just can't put an age, in my view. I think you just need to start. And again, what you're trying to achieve, because the awareness level can go up every day. So therefore, I think we just need to start.
Now, the next bit that we're going to talk about, I actually did this for myself. I did this exercise myself because I found it fascinating, and I'd never given it a second thought, where you say that it's all right for somebody to even put down a list of goals on a piece of paper and say that, okay, this is what I want changed in my career. I want this. But you talk about how one ought to have one clearly defined goal at a time. Out of the many things that we seek, pick one which is the most important at that point. Because you say it's exactly like a ship which can arrive only at one port of call at a time. It can't be at multiple docks. So you have to dock at that one place first.
Absolutely. I think.
Why is it that we don't think about it like that?
I think, again,
it's fascinating.
It's our paradigms, because I think that's how we've been programmed. And if you want to change our behavior, we've got to change our program. And I think it's inbuilt in that, and that's how the bulk of the population is thinking, and you just follow suit. But if you really sit and think about it, as you correctly said, and you just can only go to one port at a time. And once you get there, you can then go to the next port. But if you really ask somebody, let's say if they're sailing from New York, and if you ask them if they're going to Sydney, there's one word they'll say, I'm going to Sydney. But they don't know how they're going to get there, but they know they're going to Sydney.
They're going to go to Sydney.
And then lots of challenges will come whilst they're going. The ship will go this side, that side. But they know, and if they have that, they'll eventually get there if the nature allows them to get there.
And following on from that, you say how when you've locked one goal in place, it's important for you to ask yourself, are you able to get to your destination? Are you willing to do what it takes to get to your destination?
Yeah, those are the two questions. So once you have the dream, and we say, you ask these two questions, am I able and am I willing? And absolutely you're able. If you believe in the nature, if you believe in everything what we studied, as a human being, we've got a reservoir of talents. Absolutely we are able. Somebody can tell you can't, it's their problem, not yours. So yes, you're able. So that's an easy answer. And then am I willing? Am I willing to do what I need to do to get there? And that's, again, is an inside-out thing. And that moment, that dream started moving to goal, and it moved into physical form. Because I think if you really go behind all of these theories and research of natural laws, because it's like the water. If you put if you warm the water, it becomes air, then it becomes ether, but it can come back. So it's different level of vibrations, they call it, and therefore I think it's possible once you have it in your mind.
And the important thing is that, as you've listed in this chapter, it's important for you to visualize yourself in your mind's eye as that person who has reached the destination already, who has achieved what you've set out to achieve already.
Absolutely. I think they live from that space. They say that they fuse in that. If you talk about some of these people, and they're already there. In their mind, they're already there. For the rest of us, we just think. But because the beauty of the mind is we can do anything we want, because the other person doesn't know what I'm thinking. So they are already there. And even I think even the French president now, he talked about, and his girlfriend is into drama and all of that. And I think it's about having that mindset or having that idea. Put it in your mind, and you're already there, and it happens. And then the paradigms wouldn't allow you. They'll say, no, who are you to do that? And then we give up, then the nature will give up.
Is that why you say that it's important for you to remind yourself morning, noon and night that this is who I want to be and I am already that person?
Yeah.
And then while at the same time...
That's repetition. So there's two ways you change your paradigms. One is an emotional impact. Something happens, bang, you change. And like what happened to my father, and then there's a certain behavior change in me. The only other way to change our paradigms is constant pace repetition. Doing something over and over and over again, and then that's get embedded into your psychic, and then you automatically then move. And that's the only way so far the research suggests. I'm sure there are other ways might be there, but so far the research, what we have identified is either constant space repetition. And now you can do that with technology. So before it's only on the books, so you'll have to read all the books. Now with like videos and the technology enables you. That's what we've done with Regent Virtual Campus.
Now it says here, we become what we think, and therefore, it's clearly thinking about our goals and visualizing ourselves in the position that we dream of doing, exactly as you're saying, it would help make it that much perhaps easier to change our paradigm. And you also say that by repetition, your subconscious mind is also accepting what you're putting in your conscious mind.
Absolutely. It'll accept either positive or negative. And that's why some of the people who do certain things which are negative, and they're even to the extent go and kill themselves in certain actions. How are they doing it? Because they're constantly feeding to their mind, good or bad, and then the body will do it. So it's can't reject, and then we call it this. The conscious mind is. Will has a choice to say, yes, I want to listen, or I don't want to listen. So I can cut it off. So no, I really don't want to go that way. And you can cut it off. But once it goes into the subconscious mind, they call it is completely deductive. You'll just take it as real.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. And then it drips in. And once it drips into your subconscious mind, your body will move because you can't stop it. So the trick is don't bring any bad things into your subconscious mind. So cut it off. And then in our diagram, it's drawn by a person called Dr. Truman Fleet in the 1930s, who said the problem is people don't understand how the mind works, and they're all over the place. So the trick is stop it. Don't bring it down. So if you don't want to do something, it comes to your conscious mind because it picks up. Our senses picks up everything. They say, no, I'm not going there. So just cut it off. And
consequently, could we say that only think of the things that you want to do, or only concentrate on the things that you want to achieve?
Exactly.
And those trickling into your subconscious mind is only going to be a good thing.
And then the body moves, and then physics kicks in, action, reaction. Because when it goes into the body, you act. When you act, and then you do that on the environment, and then the reaction comes in. That reaction then changes your environment and your condition, and that's effectively the results. So that's where the action-reaction comes.
All right.
The app available from the App and Play Store.